Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to all the students. Hope you all are fine and doing very well. In this lesson, we will be learning Unit 1 Cells, in which we will be discussing the animal cell. The learning book page is from 13 to 16 and the workbook page is from 5 to 6. The learning objectives are to identify and describe the functions of the cells, animal cells, and to make a model of animal cell, and finally to use a microscope to look at animal cells. So we have three learning objectives. First, we will describe and identify the functions of animal cell. Second, we will make a model of animal cell. Third, we will use a microscope to look at animal cells. Success criteria. At the end of this lesson, every student will be able to name all the structures in an animal cell and describe what they do. All the students will be able to make a model of animal cell and discuss its strength and limitations. Number 3, all the students will use a microscope to see the animal cells. They will be able to use a microscope to look at animal cells. The key words in this lesson will be cell membrane. Now, cell membrane is the outer border of the cell, of the animal cell. It protects the cell from the external environment. Cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is a jelly-like structure inside the cell where all other components of the cell float. Mitochondria. It is also called the powerhouse of a cell. Mitochondria releases the energy which can be used by the cell to perform different activities. Nucleus. Nucleus is the center of the cell. All the activities which are performed by the cell are controlled by the nucleus. Stain. Stain we add to color something to see them easier. Okay. Now we are starting our lesson with a small question. You can see a plant cell on the screen. Now there are 4 parts in a plant cell whose name began with letter C, as we have already discussed plant cell, so you must know what are those names. Now you have to make a list of these 4 parts, recall what each of these word means, and after that share your ideas with the class. So pause the video, think about it and do this question. Now the answers are cell wall. The cell wall protects the entire plant cell. The second one is the cell membrane. It is a layer after the cell wall and it also does the work of protection. Cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is a jelly-like structure. All other parts of the cell floats inside the cytoplasm. The next one is chloroplast. Chloroplast gives green color to the leaves of a plant. Now parts of animal cell. Students, all the animals including human being, remember that human being is also called an animal. Human being is also an animal. So all the animals are made up of cells. Now how many cells are there in one animal? They are not known, but there may be 100 trillion cells present in a single person. Okay, so if someone asks you what is a cell, the best answer is that all animals are made up of cell. So we can say that cell is the basic unit of life. Cell is the basic unit of life. Okay, now on the screen you can see an animal cell. You will easily find the difference between the animal cell and the plant cell. The animal cell is oval in structure. it has a circular type of structure, and there are some differences between plant and animal cell which we will discuss later on. But the main difference is that the animal cell is oval in structure and the plant cell is rectangular in structure. So this is the main difference. Now you can see the components of the cell inside the animal cell. This blue one is known as the nucleus. It controls all the functions of the cell. These function includes making of food, transferring food to different parts of the cell, also controls the production of the energy by the mitochondria. So these all functions which are performed by the cell are controlled via nucleus. The second one is the mitochondria. Now mitochondria is the powerhouse of cell. Means when we eat food and it transfers into the cell, the mitochondria generates energy from that food, and then the cell uses that energy to perform different operations, different tasks. The next one is the cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is a fluid-like structure. It is a jelly-like structure. All the components of the cell, including mitochondria, nucleus, and we will be having some vacuoles, Golgi bodies, all these things, they float in cytoplasm. Cell membrane. Cell membrane is the outer layer of the cell, and it protects the animal cell from the external environment, from the external attacks. It protects the animal cell. So these are the main components of an animal cell. In this slide you can see some of the common features between the animal cell and plant cell and some of the differences. Now the common features include the cell membrane. Both of the cells, animal cell and the plant cell, have the cell membrane. The second is the nucleus. Both of the cells have the nucleus. The third one is the mitochondria. In both of the cells, animal cells and plant cells, mitochondria is present. And the third one is the cytoplasm. Both the cells contain the cytoplasm. Now what is the difference? The main difference is that a plant cell contains a cell wall, and also it contains a chloroplast, while the animal cell does not contain a cell wall as well as chloroplast. This is the main difference between the plant cell and the animal cells. Now three diagrams are shown on the slide. You have to find out whether they are plant cells or animal cells. So we can note that a plant cell is always rectangular in shape. So this cell is a plant cell. This is a plant cell. And now if you see the other cells, so the plant cells are rectangular in shape. So this pictures shows the plant cells. Now if you see this picture, these show the animal cell. Why? Because they are oval in shape. Okay, now you have to find out what type of cells these are, whether they are plant cells or animal cells. Now think about the model of the plant cell. Now just think about this plant cell. What would you change to make it into a model of an animal cell? What would you change? Now we know that a plant cell has a cell wall, an animal cell does not have. A plant cell has chloroplast, an animal cell does not have. So if we remove these two things and if we make the structure of the plant cell oval, then it will become an animal cell. Research time. What is the difference between the light microscope and the electron microscope? These both are used to see micro things. Micro things are those things which we cannot see by our naked eyes. So we use one of these microscopes. So cell is very small. We cannot see a cell through our naked eyes, so we will be using a microscope. So we have two types of microscope. One is light microscope and the other is electron microscope. So you have to search for it, you have to look for it, and you have to find the differences between both of them. Now we have an answer for that. A light microscope uses the light, while electron microscope uses the electrons, which we provide them in the form of electricity. Light microscope are small, and electron microscope are very large, and they are non-portable, means you cannot carry them in your hands. Light microscopes are inexpensive, electron microscopes are expensive. So when you are going to use light microscope, you do not need such training, but in case of electron microscope you have to be well trained. Light microscope, you can use it to see color images, while in electron microscope black and white images are shown. Specimen means the sample which you want to check. They can be alive, not must, they can be alive in light microscope, means you can take an alive sample to see for it in the light microscope. But for the electron microscope, the specimen must be dead. The resolution and the magnification of light microscope is less, while that of electron microscope is higher. This is a question of higher order thinking skills. Read the question and give the suitable answer. The answer is also shown on the screen. The question says Jared observes a cell in biology lab with the light microscope. The cell has the following structures: vacuole, cell wall, and chloroplast. Now, if a cell has a cell wall, chloroplast, and vacuole, what type of cell is it? It is a plant cell. Okay, he is observing a plant cell. Thank you so much for your time. Have a very good day.